What's up, Facebook and YouTube? Today I'm gonna kill two birds with one stone, and I'm gonna answer two questions that I get a lot. Who is my God, and do I eat meat? No, I don't eat meat, so I'm gonna start off with that question first. Do I think we should eat meat? I think everyone should be vegans. You look at all early religions, it'll tell you that when things were perfect in the beginning, man was vegetarian or vegan, and that man lived in harmony amongst the animals. Now, one thing that a lot of people use to support eating meat is they say, look at the animals, how the animals hunt one another and how they eat meat. And what they don't realize is that humans are at the top of the food chain as far as life go on earth. We are the dominators. There is no life on earth that can dominate above us. So with that being said, man has corrupted the planet so much today. Whatever we do on a planet, everything else in nature will echo. It will create sort of a snowball or chain effect based on what man does on the planet, even with the animals. So if you could think of all of the plant species that's been extinct since the rise of modern thought and the way we live in today, the corrupted way we live in, when you think of all of the different animal life and different plant species and insect life, is up into the millions that have went extinct as a result of man. I do believe that in man's early days, or even back not too far in ancient days, I do believe that there was a time where all humans were vegetarian. I do believe that there was a time that what we're calling heaven and what they're giving us is heaven in all of the religions. I believe that that place was here on earth. And as y'all stay tuned with me and we go into this journey in the future, I'm going to explain why I say that, because we haven't been told everything there is to know about this earth. But to stay on subject with the meat eating, I believe that as a result of man's disobedience and failures upon the planet, when certain plant species went extinct and certain animals went extinct, and when man started eating flesh, that a lot of animals had to follow suit also, because I believe that once we moved into certain areas and that once man started eating meat, that we robbed the planet and we robbed a lot of species of their resources. So a lot of animals, as a result of our disobedience and failure to cooperate with nature, I believe that a lot of animals follow suit. As above, so below. We at the top of the food chain once we started eating meat and corrupting different plants and different trees and stuff going extinct that a lot of animals depended on. I believe that a lot of animals either went extinct or was forced to become cannibals like we are, because when you look at a lot of the ancient skulls, they didn't have fang teeth. So this supports my belief. All of the ancient skulls that they find didn't have fang teeth. The human body is not even designed to process meat. So a lot of people say that you gotta eat meat because you get certain proteins and stuff from meat. That is not the truth. Everything in the plant life can give the human body what it needs and more. The eating of meat is something that's new on the planet. Even a lot of African tribes eat meat and hunt, but that's not the ancient way. A lot of them are hunting today based on a result of a lot of things going extinct throughout the years in their generations. As I said, when we rewind this clock back on the planet, there was fruits you don't even know about, trees you never heard of, plants that you'll never get to taste now that existed on this earth. If you look around at all the food we eat today, sometimes it can get boring. You got to think there's a lot of plant species and different foods and everything, millions that we enjoy today. But even when you look at it, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of combinations of stuff out there to eat. That's because we missing millions of different foods and plants and berries and bananas. Even the stuff we eat today isn't the original form. And before I close out at the end of this video, I'm going to leave you with an excellent clip to show you what I mean about the way our foods and fruits used to look compared to how they de-evolved today. So the bananas you looking at today weren't yellow. They looked completely different. There has been a lot of changes on the planet, and we can't support meat eating, especially when you look at some of these slaughterhouse documentaries. Get in the description links, guys. Always get in the description links, because one thing that led me to becoming a vegan is watching a lot of these slaughterhouse documentaries. And I really, really recommend you watch them with your kids, because our kids tell us all the time they never want to go back to eating meat. It takes a lot of discipline, but you feel better. In my belief, it reduces karma, because these animals suffer and they are tortured in these slaughterhouses. So when you watch some of these documentaries, what goes on with the food that you eat, you'll see why the state of humanity is why it is today, because people, we are what we eat. So when you think about it, when you bite into a hamburger and you think about the journey of that patty before it made it in between those buns, that was a cow that was tortured and it was killed slow. You can't tell me that I'm lying, because I've watched this stuff. I've seen the documentaries. So it will change your life and for the good. Some of your strongest people in the world, even the man who went to the deepest depths of the ocean, was a vegan. So if you start researching what I'm telling you, you'll see that I'm not lying. A human body is not designed to process meat. I do believe that this planet was a heaven in the beginning. And I don't believe heaven is a place that we go to out in outer space. I believe that heaven is a place we create, and heaven is a state of being, a state of consciousness. Earth is one creature, and you are a part of that. We're like the miniature cells of the earth, and what we do upon her will affect reality. It all ties into how we treat all things on the planet, okay? So that goes into the animals. When these animals are tortured in these slaughterhouses, think about if you were being tortured, what you would feel like, and the different chemicals your body would release, being fear and different hormones. Some people even wet their pants and defecate on themselves based on the fear of being tortured. You got to think of what the animals go through in these slaughterhouses. I'm not going to put any of the footage up in this video because I will have to age restrict it, but get in the links, guys, and check them out for yourself. These animals release fear. They release sadness. They release depression. They release all type of hormones right upon death, and they die a slow death. And you are eating all of those hormones that was released. That code of depression. See, these feelings that we have are actual chemicals that your body releases. Your body is running a program. So when these animals are tortured, they release these chemicals and they end up on your plate in your burger. And we wonder why we got to take depression pills and different pills for anxiety, because we are what we eat. We take in the fear. We take in the depression that those animals experienced upon death. We really got to change, y'all. And that's the whole purpose of this video. And I'm going to be doing more like this in the future. So you got to get a warm spot in your heart for the life around you. And that's part of what led me to becoming a vegan, because these animals truly suffer. And indeed, humans suffer as well. But us being at the top of the food chain, we are held to a higher responsibility on how we treat the planet and how we interact with nature. And always keep in mind that our children have to inherit this planet. So we can believe in heavens outside of earth, that's fine and dandy, but we must always deal with reality first, because when we leave here, we don't know if there's a heaven out there or not. It's just our beliefs and our religions, but it's a reality that our children are going to have to inherit this planet. So understand that most of the pollution that can be accounted for in the food industry and the agricultural plants and stuff that we got around here, these cows producing methane out here. Cows are not supposed to be held against their will in large numbers like we do to feed our food industries today. In nature, cows will be roaming free, grazing on grass, and when they take a dump, as they migrate over the earth and eating grass, they are actually spreading the seeds and helping the earth populate grass and grow different trees. So everything on the planet has a role. Like I said, earth is one body and man is at the top of the food chain. So we really got to take responsibility, and I really need people to help me share the truth, because as I said, when you look at cows and different animals that we use for our advantage today, it's all about taste. The ancestors ate to live. Today we live to eat. And this is why obesity is a big time problem. And we got health related problems due to mainly what we eat. And we got to get out of our indulgent phase and the way we just live to eat. Part of becoming a vegetarian is a very exciting journey when you're learning new foods and new things that you can combine to eat. And you actually find out that eating healthy actually not only tastes better, but you're going to feel better and increase years on your life. Not to mention that you're going to help the planet, because like I said, all of these animals suffer. All of the chemicals we producing in the air with these factories and everything, it's a chain reaction. And you're also going to realize when you start researching this stuff that a lot of people have been assassinated for speaking against the meat industries. This is a big time industry, y'all. This meat and this food that y'all getting today is cloned, is mutated. And if if you knew how it made it to your plate, you would become a vegetarian like Brother Sanchez. People look for all kind of ways to support eating meat, even in religion and all of that. I'ma just say this. Go to a slaughterhouse and try to slay your own meat. Let me put a knife in your hand and let you work in the slaughterhouse for a week, and let's see, do you still be a meat eater? Especially red meats are very cancerous to the human body. The universe got a law system. It got a way of bringing justice. If you want to eat the meats, we suffer the same deaths that our ancestors suffer, because I don't know about y'all, but especially with a lot of black people, we die from high cholesterol and different things that's related to the eating of pork and salty foods and fried foods of that nature. Different races got their own vices. When you look at Italians, all of the acidic foods they eat, and on down the line as meat related. We continue the tradition of death, but we really have the opportunity to change the way we live upon the planet and change the reality that we see every day. And part of that is knowledge, facing the truth, and being mature. And like I said, get in the description links and look at some of these slaughterhouse videos with your children. So just to answer the second question, who is my God? Honestly, the word God, and I don't want to get into semantics, but when we deal with gods and goddesses, we're dealing with mythological figures. Now, if we want to be metaphysical, so to speak, and look at them as how they relate to us, I would say that we're all gods and goddesses. Why? Because we're made by the Creator. That's where people get confused. They say, well, we're gods and goddesses. That's blasphemous. How can we be God? Well, you got to understand that God is nothing but guide. A god or a guide can be anything. Satanism can be your God. Different occult ideologies have different gods. People, if you don't know, there's over 10,000 gods, probably more than that. And they are all guides. Each one has a guide or system or different rules that they go by and customs. So when you think of God, just think of guide. All of these words are related. With that being said, each and every last human being is born with the law inside of them. Every human live according to their law. That's why you look at some humans, they say, well, how can he do that? For example, when you think of someone like Jeffrey Dahmer who can eat another human being, you say, how can he do that? An off-balance human being, they don't necessarily perceive good and bad as a normal human being. It has nothing to do with invisible spirits. It's all about the mentality of the person. People, the mind is powerful. Now, a lot of the craziness that we see in our society today is seeded by what's on that screen in front of our faces from the day we are children all the way up until adults. So who is my God? If you ask every human being one question, they will interpret it in their own way based on the uniqueness of the human being. No parent is going to raise their children the exact same way. Every person is their own fingerprint. No one is going to make a sandcastle the exact same way. No one has the exact fingerprint. So we are all gods and goddesses. There are plenty of people doing exactly what I'm doing, but in their own way, in their own unique way. There are different gods and goddesses that is synonymous with the human being, but in my eyes, there is only one creator. Now, how you interpret that creator and define that creator is all up to you. And in my opinion, I don't think you should let no one have that portion of your life. To me, that should be a personal experience that every human being have personal for themselves. Like that should be a part of your mind space that no one is allowed to go to but you, the way you interpret the creator. I don't believe in organized religion. That's a corporate way, a way of corporatizing the creator, for lack of better words. So it's a system and everybody is taught or trained to have the same experience, and that's not natural. In your natural light, you would react with the creator your own unique way. So when you get into all of the religions, everybody is reacting with the creator in a traditional way that was taught to them by that tradition or that culture where that religion stemmed from. So that's my thing with religion, and I once was a religious person. I have nothing against religious people. However, I do believe that religion is one of the problems on the planet, division among humanity, and especially war. Understand that every human has the freedom to think and perceive their reality for themselves. That's the problem we have in today's world as opposed to the ancient world. It was more freedom. No one was trying to control your thoughts. There were no TVs. And you got to keep in mind, a lot of people ask, why am I a flat earther? And I didn't want to get on this subject in this video, but I want to put everything on the table. I've done a lot of research that led me to that conclusion. And what I come to realize is that science is a religion, because becoming a flat earther, some of the comments and hate I get just for simply disagreeing with the shape of the earth with a person. I have received death threats. Shoot yourself and your mother should have swallowed you for me believing that the earth is flat. And I dare anyone to investigate it diligently just for a little bit. People, we've been lied to on a grand scale. Before I close out, I do want to leave you with this. Each and every human being is an expression of the Creator. You are an experience that the Creator is having. We cannot be separate from the Creator if we are the creations. Understand that. For example, if you go to the ocean with an empty cup and you scoop out a cup of water and you take that cup of water to the desert, it's still going to be water. In fact, if you pour it in the ground, it'll find its way back to the ocean because it is what it is and it can't be separate from the source. It's water when it's in its gas form. It's water when it's in its solid form. And it's water when it's in its liquid form. And you're the same way. You're all of those elements. You're a manifestation of the Creator, and you're not separate from the Creator. Part of you regaining that understanding is realizing that we don't always have to look up in the sky when we think of the Creator. We can look in the mirror because we are the creations. So you are that cup of water. You are still water. You are composed of spirit, soul. Where do you think that come from? That is of the source. Nothing can be separate of this source. You are essentially the thought of the Creator. Everything around you is the thought of the Creator. Creation isn't created out of physical material. Physical material is one building block to creation. So understand the oneness of everything and understand that physicality is only a result of the invisible. So when you think of creation, think of you having a thought in your head and you creating an island in your head. You just created a physical place that exists in your mind physically. We can't tangibly touch it, but that place exists in the form of that thought. Thoughts are real. Everything around you started from a thought first, just like the creation. So essentially all it is thought. That's why I say we can't be separate from the source, because I cannot be separate from my thoughts. A painter cannot be separate from the painting when the very painting that's on the canvas is coming from the mind of the painter. Again, I don't want to take up too much of you guys' time. I just wanted to address those two questions. Follow me on Twitter. Join us on the Facebook group Knowledge is Power. Free your mind, brothers and sisters. Don't judge someone just because they have a different philosophy than you may have, or different opinions, or a different perception of reality than you may have. In fact, I challenge you to try to understand that person, and you'll learn a lot, even if you never agree with them. Let's practice what we preach. As humanity, we have a great responsibility in the perseverance of nature. And if you haven't been following me with the Planisphere series and the Mother Goddess series, I suggest you guys start those from the beginning if you haven't, just to be thorough and really understand what I'm trying to convey to you guys. No two people will never think the same. That ain't a reason for us to go to war. We like to throw around the word agent amongst each other. Keep in mind, people, we just regular people. Don't convince yourself that Brother Sanchez is some kind of agent. I'm just a young man who got a different perception of reality than most people. And this channel is all about me sharing that. You can base your own perceptions, but I can only give you my conclusions based on the facts and truth that's presented to me, because everyone that's under the sound of my voice can agree on one thing: the powers that be have not been 100%. The true question is, when will we stop trusting them and start trusting each other? Because the real agenda is divide and conquer. And with all of that being said, I'm gonna let you guys go. New uploads every Thursday. Peace and much love.